We are going to talk about the two mindsets that are usually available. So, okay, most of the time we have like this fixed mindset. What does it mean? Okay, we say that we cannot do something. For example, I cannot do this work, or the thing that you are assigning this user story to me, like is not a good idea. I cannot do it. Or, for example, when we are really frustrated about the results of the sprint or of our work, or when we have like limited beliefs, let's say, or when we say like, okay, I'm not going to do this or that thing, you know. So usually failure is something bad that we accept that, okay, this is not good, we do not have good results, etc., etc. Why do I say that most of like teams have fixed mindset? Because that's how we are used to work. You know, we are used to get the tasks, have the deadline, have, for example, the budget constraints, have the scope constraints, and just do our work. Because like usually we have personal KPIs, etc., etc. So everything is like linked to us and the result. So when we say growth mindset, what do we mean? Usually, like growth mindset is also an agile mindset. And okay, here are some of the categories that I just mentioned. So, agile mindset. Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Are there any specific defined steps to kind of implement this transition of the team from fixed mindset to growth mindset?
Yeah, sure there are. But let me just explain what exactly is growth mindset, and I will just get back to the steps. But that's a good question. Actually, growth mindset means that we are open to changes. We are open to failure. We are ready to educate ourselves and also to share our knowledge. You know, like challenges help us grow. So this is like a very difficult thing to accept, but those teams like who accept this fact that challenge is a good thing and change is a good thing, they are succeeding in their work, right? Also, usually like people with agile mindset say we can do this kind of work if, let's say, and just bring some conditions. So it is not enough to say I cannot do something, but for example, I can do it if I have these and these and these and these conditions. Here are some, you know, like again, some conditions which you can see here. And also a very good point here is that people with agile mindset, they also have this business ethics of work, you know, the new approach. It is kind of a company culture. So if you want, for example, we have already talked about Agile and Scrum. So if you want to have this kind of methodologies implemented into your companies, you have to work with the brains of your team members, first of all. About the steps, usually this is kind of a little bit difficult to say that there are like certain steps because like companies like differ, and it also depends on the size, on the sphere. But let's say there are some small steps or like key steps, let's say, that can help you to try to bring some agility to your teams. So first of all, small accomplishments. Guys, if you want to try like taking a big project right from the beginning and do it with Agile, if you do not have this Agile mindset yet, I want to assure you that you are going to fail actually. Start with small accomplishments. Let your team be confident in what they do. For example, they take one story, like better to take one story than to have, let's say, 10 stories but partially done. So better to have one story and have it fully done. So do small accomplishments. This will lead to team confidence actually. The next thing is the failure. Okay, so the failure is a good thing. Those are the great news for all of us. Failure is a starting point for experiments. So we can fail today, but we are going to retrospective we're going to have a retrospective look at it, and we are going to understand what were the reasons. And if we understand it, we are not going to repeat the same mistakes again in the future. So this is really helpful when you are stepping on the agile road. The next thing is that we have to understand that sprint, what is sprint, right, and what is marathon. You know the difference, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so achieving the goal is not a sprint, so we cannot achieve a goal, like let's say in a couple of days. If we have something to achieve, then we should be really persistent, and there is a really very good word in Agile, which is consistency, right? So we have to be consistent to reach our goals. Okay, the next thing is that, okay, we have the small accomplishments here, but that's not enough. We have to turn these small wins into habit. Okay, so for example, we drink coffee every day in the morning, and that's kind of a habit, right? So let's say that these kind of things also can turn into habit. Doing small things, completing them, and just, you know, turning them into wins. Going to a pub in the evening and, you know, like celebrating that we have accomplished a small sprint or whatever, you know, a small increment of the product, etc., etc. So, and the last thing is that, you know, the learning should become again our habit, you know, our passion. We constantly need to learn, to grow, and to share our knowledge. So these are kind of steps that you can use in most of your conference. Yes.
I have a question, sorry.
Yeah,
I was
sure.
wondering how teams from different spheres react to agile implementation. How does it
Yeah.
differ?
So usually it is a little bit different, of course, from sphere to sphere. Let's say from my experience, I can say that people from banking, like banking sphere, like finances, are more resistant than people in IT. Why? Because usually people in IT are more agile in terms of the like product creation. You know, the product life cycle is such that they may use some agile practices, but they do not realize that they are agile. You know, so because you know the market is changing, etc., etc. So for them it is easier. Again, most of the time they resist because they have their skills, you know, they are smart, and they are thinking that they know what is best for the team and for the product. So usually it is a human factor, you know. But for example, in banks, people resist because they are used to work not to think, you know. They are used to work like what is said about, like they do the certain tasks. What is said, like from the, let's say, from the program manager or from the other department, and they do this. They have a lot of dependencies from other, let's say, departments. They have a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of regulations, laws, etc., etc. So it is not only them. Even if they want to be agile, because let's say it is a person from a customer service department who is interacting with the end users, but still, you know, this person cannot, or this team cannot be fully agile because their product owner is not empowered enough to like make strict decisions and just follow up with them. So we can talk about this like a little bit later when we talk when we will reach the part with the teams. So I will bring more examples. Okay, so how good we should be. Okay, there are some points which could help you to understand whether your teams are lacking agile mindset or not. So usually when teams are not striving for improvement or for knowledge, or when they do not want to share their knowledge but to keep it for themselves, that's anti-agile mindset. Also, when they are not understanding the priority, so they are not working on the top priority stories, that's again against, you know, agile approach. Because again, you remember we have talked about it. Agile teams are working on the stories that have like the higher business value, right? Separate user stories for testing. I have seen it in many teams that, for example, they create separate stories for development and then they create separate stories for testing or for design. So that's not true. They should have this collective ownership of the story, you know, and also this will mean that they are going to estimate the story like from different perspectives, from development perspective, from design perspective, and but we need to have a one, you know, understanding of this story size. And we have to have it fully done, right, by the end of the sprint. So this is also wrong, and this is, again, against Agile. No visibility of the burn down chart. You know, usually teams are not using it at all. And then, or even other metrics. I mean, here I've written the burn down chart, but this can relate also to other metrics. And the last thing is that they estimate only for the upcoming sprint, which means that they do not have a product roadmap. You know, Agile is not an anarchy, so you might have some understanding of product goals that you want to reach, some kind of roadmap which can change during time. But again, it is good if you know where you are going. So usually when you estimate only, you know, a couple of stories for the upcoming sprint, that's not a good idea. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I have a problem with the company I work with. So recently I've noticed that they don't like to have a look at the burnout chart during the daily stand-up meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean? Should I just remove them and not show it to them anymore?
Mm-hmm. So usually my answer would be no, because you know, first of all, you need to understand why do they want to remove it. In most of the cases, like in my experience, I've seen that people are tend to remove something when they do not understand the reason why it is used. For example, if they do not understand why the burn down chart is used, then obviously they would come and say to you, you know, please remove it. For example, the steps that you could take is, first of all, to explain them that this burn down chart is part of the transparency, you know, pillar of Agile. So, you know, like all the other metrics could help them to understand where they are in terms of the project. So this is for them. This is not for the Scrum Master or other management to, you know, like to do some supervision or whatever. This is just for them to understand where they are. Because obviously when you are talking just with words, it is really hard to show like what is the progress of the team. And usually, you know, you can use tools or just write it on the like board if you have a board. Like, do you have a board?
Yeah, we do.
Physical board. Okay, that's good. So you can just edit like somewhere on the board. And so I have seen that some of the teams have been like updating it during the daily stand-up, and this is helping a lot. Yeah.